I have also been thinking about the Merrifield's two sons. So Garrick and Danielle in season 5, which is their 3rd season, but it's the 5th season of the show overall. At the beginning of the season, we saw a lot of the boys. They went to Cancun with them. We saw they were the ones who actually filmed Natalia first meeting the family, all of that. They went to the cenote. They were a big part of the cenote. They had a meal together, all of that. And then kind of right after that, I felt like they just disappeared. And we didn't see them for the rest of the Cancun trip, which, I mean, is kind of a blessing because when we saw a lot of them, I was a little bit like, oh, these poor kids. They're kind of, this whole like, you have a new mommy, I know you had Roberta. And of course, it's like part of me just thinks their mom looks kind of ridiculous and how that has to affect him and everything. But it was also really weird when they disappeared kind of in the middle of the season. And then it was really jarring last week because he's talking about going to Brazil for a month. And if you just saw that episode, it would never occur to you that they have children, because I kind of feel like, why didn't they ask them in the interviews? Like first of all, they need a viewer. They need a really obsessed viewer. Obviously me, but any one of the commentators will do, who was there, who would be like, ask him about the kids, ask him about how he's going to leave his sons for a month. Ask him about this. How is he going to support his existing family if he doesn't have a job for a month? Now, as near as I can tell, I think this is a case of he's the head builder and everybody else is doing the actual work. And we know there's plenty of people who own businesses where everybody else does all the work. And so I do wonder how that works. But how can he afford to go to Brazil for 6 weeks? Which is how long he's been there, and have a big wedding, and he's not working and he's away from his kids because the kids just disappeared. And then this week we see Danielle with the sister-in-law talking, and nobody mentions anything like, have you told the boys? Are you going to tell the boys together? She's talking about like, I could end up being a single mom. And I thought, you're currently a single mom. He's MIA, and they're barely talking. And as my husband pointed out to me, obviously, she has some access to the bank. I don't know where the assets are. Another question they never asked is, how are the assets broken up? They asked about the prenup, and he just sort of was like, oh, we didn't consider that. I'll tell you what, if I was in that situation, every second of my thought would be on where the money is. I mean, as a woman, because I'd be like, am I being protected? Are my kids being protected? Is our house being protected? Because last season they talked about building that house that her parents were going to also live with her. They never mentioned that again. So I don't know if that came to happen, if that was a different house. I don't know what's going on. But the things we are not hearing about, like the things I have questions about that they're not addressing, is like endless. And instead we get, I guess what we get is fine. But I'm going a little nuts because all of a sudden halfway through the Cancun trip, the boys kind of disappeared. And then I don't know where so are the boys supposed to go with her to Brazil to watch their dad marry another woman? I don't know. I don't know what happens.